we used to thinking very highly of democracy and by extension, of ancient Athens, the civilization that gave rise to it. The Parthenon has become almost a byword for democratic values, which is why so many leaders of democracies like to be photographed there. It's therefore very striking to discover that one of ancient Greece's greatest achievements, philosophy, was highly suspicious of its other achievement, democracy. The founding father of Greek philosophy, Socrates, is portrayed in the dialogues of Plato hugely pessimistic about the whole business of democracy. In Book 6 of the Republic, Plato describes Socrates falling into conversation with a character called Adeimantus and trying to get him see the floors of democracy by comparing a society to a ship. If you were heading out on a journey by sea, asked Socrates, who would you ideally want deciding who was in charge of the vessel? Just anyone or people educated in the rules and demands of seafaring? The latter, of course, is Adeimantus. So why then, responds Socrates, do we keep thinking that any old person should be fit to judge who should be the ruler of the country? Socrates' point is that voting in an election is a skill, not a random intuition. And like any skill, it needs to be taught systematically to people. Letting the citizen re-vote without an education is as irresponsible as putting them in charge of a trireme sailing to Samos in a storm. Socrates was to have first-hand catastrophic experience of the foolishness of voters. In 399 BC, the philosopher was put on trial on trumped-up charges of corrupting the youth of Athens. A jury of 500 Athenians was invited to weigh up the case and decided by narrow margin that the philosopher was guilty. He was put to death by hemlock in a process which is for thinking people every bit as tragic as Jesus' condemnation has been for Christians. Crucially, Socrates was not elitist in the normal sense. He didn't believe that a narrow few should only ever vote. You did, however, insist that only those who thought about issues rationally and deeply should be let near a food. We've forgotten this distinction between an intellectual democracy and a democracy by birthright. We've given the vote to all without connecting it to wisdom. And Socrates knew exactly where that would lead. To assist them, the Greeks feared above all demagoguery. Ancient Athens had painful experience of demagogues, for example, the loose figure of Alcibiades. Rich, charismatic, smooth-talking, wealthy man, who wrote at Basic Freedoms and helped to push Athens to his disastrous military adventures in Sicily. Socrates. How easily people seeking election could exploit our desire for easy answers. He also imagined an election debate between two candidates, one who was like a doctor, and the other who was like a sweet shop owner. The sweet shop owner would say of his rival, "Look, this person here has worked many evils on you. He hurts you, gives you bitter potions, and tells you not to eat and drink whatever you like. You'll never serve you feasts of many and very pleasant things like I will." Socrates asked us to consider the audience's response. Do you think the doctor would be able to reply effectively? The true answer: I cause you trouble and go against your desires in order to help you, would cause uproar among the voters, don't you think? We have forgotten all about Socrates' salient warnings against democracy. We have preferred to think of democracy as an unambiguous good rather than as something that is only ever is effective as the education system that surrounds it. As a result, we have elected many sweet shop owners and very few doctors.